Hello there, Evie, Richard, Matthew and Michael, Mia. How's it going? Stephen, Diane, Jennifer, and Diane. How's it going? How you doing, everyone? How's life today? Katie, hello, Katie. How are you doing? Can you hear me, actually? Give me a thumbs up, somebody. Matthew, you can hear me? Perfect. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Edinburgh, Scotland. How's life today for the people here today? I just thought I'd come down and show you this view. Nothing to do with Harry Potter. Just thought I'd give you this view. I just thought I would spoil you, because it's my favourite spot in Edinburgh here. Beautiful, isn't it? Where else has got a volcano with a castle sitting on top of it, directly in the centre? I mean, it must be unique in the world. Is there any other cities in the world that's got a volcano directly in the centre, handily placed, handily located, with a castle on top? Beautiful, isn't it? And the juxtaposition of the fountain as well, you know, really, this is my favourite spot in Edinburgh for postcards, selfies, whatever you want to call them. You were married at St Cuthbert's, the Mother Church of Edinburgh. Well, Desma, you can tell people you were married in the same church as Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie married her toy boy in there, so she did. Beautiful, Helen. It's my favourite. This is my favourite postcard in Edinburgh. I just like the. At first, it wasn't the fountain got taken away for a long time to get repaired and renovated, and at first I didn't like the colours, you know, blue, like sort of turquoise, gold. But I actually quite like it. Actually, it's kind of grown on me. The fountain has. Hello, people who are joining. How are you doing? Look at the wind. You can see how strong the wind is. I wouldn't stand over here. The wind. Look at the water's getting blown away. It's quite windy today here. Well, Edinburgh's always windy, but you can see with the water. This was completely frozen a couple of weeks ago, iced up. And I believe some parts of America are getting in Canada. America and Canada's getting really bad weather just now. Minus 20. I think minus 50 wind chill factor was recorded in America. Whew. Imagine that. Minus 50. It's quite cold, actually. I reckon it's maybe about 2 degrees here. It's not too bad, but the wind's making it feel colder, you know. It's a cold wind. Myriada, Karen, Helen, hello everyone who's joining. Thank you so much for coming on my tour today. How's life today? Put a message in the chat, everybody. Let me know where you're from. Where in the world are you watching this from? What are the temperatures? Where you are from? Look at this girl sitting in the fountain with no jacket on. You can tell she's here for Instagram. All the Instagrammers come here. 45. That's not too bad. Probably about the same here. It's quite cold, but it's the wind. Yeah, Canada's minus 24, yeah. I've got some friends in Canada, and they're saying it was minus 19 and all that. Diana, you're in York. It's still legal to kill a Scotsman in York. I have to be very careful when I go there. Despite being born in Yorkshire, everyone thinks I'm Scottish because of my accent. I'm just putting this accent on. I don't even talk like this. Beautiful, isn't it? Hey, Agatha, how you doing? Susan is in London, and it's quite warm here for February. It's been quite mild here this week in Edinburgh, actually. Up north, there's been getting quite high winds and snow, but the central belt's been okay. We've been 8 degrees, 9 degrees Celsius, about 50 Fahrenheit or something like that. But I do know Canada and America have been getting extreme temperatures. Can you hear the water, the fountain? Deborah is in Virginia. Is that where the Blue Range Mountains are? Is that place? Is it Blue Ridge? On the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. My singing is terrible. I better just be quiet. Nancy, Joan, and Wendy, and Tracy, hello. Hey, Agatha, how's it going? It's cold here today in Edinburgh. Windy. Edinburgh must be, I've said it before repeatedly, it must be the windiest city in the world. I know Chicago is called the windy city, but that's got nothing to do with wind. How's life, Wendy? And Tracy from Western Australia, is that? Is that WA, Western Australia? Joanna. Get this. Beautiful postcard, isn't it? Does everyone know how to take a postcard? Practice your postcards. Is anyone here for the very first time, actually? It's all quiet in Falkirk. Pouring, but no wind. It's very windy in Edinburgh. People from different parts of Scotland come to Edinburgh and complain about the wind. It's quite windy here, I must admit. It's my first time touring with you. Tracy, can I give you a warning? Don't take anything I say too seriously. I've got a habit of making flippant remarks, and sometimes I get myself into trouble. But you'll have a laugh. So just a warning, it's probably not suitable for children as well. Has anyone got any children watching? Hey Lorraine, how you doing? Israel, hello, and Karen, hello. Cynthia, how's it going? Jane, alright lass. Can you send me up some fish and chips and mushy peas and a bag of scraps, please? I'll need to go to Yorkshire, get some fish and chips. Scraps or bits? Do you call them scraps or bits? Oh dear, hello. That's St Cuthbert's Church here, famous church. Agatha Christie was married here. Scraps, a bag of scraps. I'm sure they're called bits in Halifax. Bag of bits, I'm sure it was bits in Halifax. Different parts of Yorkshire must... is it unique to Yorkshire, the scraps or the bits? I've never seen it anywhere else. 2 minutes, 2 minutos. My 15th great-grandfather is buried there. Wow. So is Thomas Dickinson, the English author who wrote Confessions of an English Opium Eater. What are scraps? In Yorkshire, they use frozen fish in the chip shops, and when they dip the fish in the batter and put the fish into the fryer, little bits of the batter come off. Most places, they just chuck them out, but in Yorkshire, they eat them. They must be the most unhealthiest things in the world, just little bits of batter. But they're blinking good. Liliana, Sarah, hello, Erin. One of my favourite names, Erin. Oh, Linda, Joanna, I love Harry Potter. Yeah, there's been having problems with the signalling and the apps and all that, haven't in the last... I think it's been ongoing for a few months now, actually. Keeps on getting different problems. Signalling issues. There was tipping issues last week. This week people were unable to tip. People losing signals all the time. So, look at that, everyone. Isn't that a beautiful view? This has got nothing to do with Harry Potter, by the way. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I just go off on tangents and end up, who knows? It's live. You don't know what's going to happen on a live tour. You know what I mean? Anything can happen. A big fight could break out. A car accident could happen. You can get attacked or mugged. And I've certainly been threatened to get stabbed once on a tour. Mugged. Wendy, you used to get crispy bits in Glasgow chippies, did you? Never got them in Edinburgh. Must be to do with the poverty, eh? Hey, hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on my tour today. Busting the myths and legends of Harry Potter. My name is Paul and I'm a tour guide here in Edinburgh. If you're here for the first time with my tours, please don't take everything I say too seriously. I like to try and make people laugh and entertain people, and sometimes I get myself into trouble by saying the wrong thing, okay? It's really probably not suitable for children. Is there any children watching? You can let me know, because I do talk about adult topics, you know. This is a tip-based platform, and if you're not following my channel, if you can see somewhere on your screen, following the channel is a great way to help the tour guides to increase our follower numbers. I've got a target of 4,000 by the end of this month, and I've got 3,800 something. So if you are not already following my channel, if you can please follow my channel, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Also a good way to help us, if you can't, I know not everybody can afford to leave a tip, but if you can't afford to leave a tip, if you can leave a 5-star review, or if you can take lots of postcards as well, sharing the postcards on your social media. You can add me as a friend on Facebook, Paul James Stewart, and so on. Leah, hello, thank you for following. Heidi and everyone, Natalie, hello Debbie and everyone who's joined in. Camilio, everybody, hello. Nancy, thank you for leaving a tip. Yeah, this has got nothing to do with Harry Potter. I just like to show off this view. It's my favourite view in Edinburgh. I think it's a classic postcard shot, don't you? A beautiful view. Edinburgh Castle sitting on top of an extinct volcano that erupted 350 million years ago. Beautiful, isn't it? Sherilyn, Laura, Aaron. Woohoo! How you doing? So there we go. Nothing to do with Harry Potter. But what I normally do for the first 5 minutes or so of this tour is just have a general chit-chat, because people always join late and I have to go over what I've already said. So just enjoy the little walk through Princess Street Gardens. This tour might go over the 1 hour as well, depending on what happens on the tour. If I go to diversion or something, or if something happens, you never know what's going to happen. So apologies if I go over the hour, but I would recommend, even if you do not like me too much, I would recommend staying until the end. The end is quite a good ending. A happy ending, as they say. Fliskin, Kathy, Alina, Lisa, hello everyone who's joining. Thank you, Diana, and Desma for leaving a tip, and everyone else who's joining. This is Princess Street Gardens. Some of you have been here many times with me before. It's one of my favourite places in the centre. Anyone else having the stream drop out? I've got a full signal. Here, I'll just go to show you this. Excuse me. This is the very famous bear, Wojciech, the most famous bear in the whole world. A Polish legend. We've actually got a big Polish community in Edinburgh. We've actually got 2 Polish statues. He was taken by the Polish soldiers during the war and kept as a mascot. Used to give him cigarettes and beer. He ended up in Edinburgh Zoo. Yeah, I've got full signal. Try refreshing. Put something into the castle on the rock. See it? Of course, Edinburgh Castle has a connection to Harry Potter. Does anyone know? Does anyone know the connection between Harry Potter and Edinburgh Castle? I thought you said beer. Yes, it was beer. Yes, you used to give the beer cigarettes and beer. The beer used to smoke and drink. Heidi! Well done. Hogwarts? No, well, it was Hogwarts. American and Scottish tribute to the soldiers in America and Scotland. First World War. Yes. She had the midnight book launch of The Half-Blood Prince. Edinburgh Castle was turned into Hogwarts for one night only because the book was embargoed, and the time you can release something is midnight They all do it, and it's quite common now with the games and the books and the movies and all that. Sometimes they get released at midnight. So that's what she did. She hired Edinburgh Castle for one night only and turned it into Hogwarts. And 70 school children were invited to the midnight book launch. Some were given signed copies of the book, believe it or not. And the kids were allowed to ask questions as well. And do you know what the big revelation was from the kids? Because bear in mind, the kids have not got filters in the same way that most adults have got. My filters is not the best, right enough. But yeah, the big revelation was Dumbledore was gay and he was 150 years old. And I haven't seen the new Dumbledore movie yet, but I believe that gets approached. Palm trees and everything. Look at this, everyone. Palm trees in Scotland. If anyone ends up in New York City, go and see the Harry Potter play. It's in 2 parts. Is it? Wow. Best ever play. Wow. I didn't know they had a Harry Potter play. Mind you, they'll make Harry Potter anything, don't they? You've got Harry Potter theme parks and studios, and you've got the Harry Potter train in Scotland. Harry Potter was not filmed anywhere in Edinburgh, but it was filmed at different locations in Scotland. A lot of military statues in Edinburgh. A lot of military statues here. But yeah, you've got Harry Potter, everything. I mean, Joanne Rowland rakes in hundreds of millions of pounds a year still. She paid £120 million in tax last year. I mean, how much did she earn? She does a lot with her money, does Joanne Rowland. So you can't say that. You just purchased Hogwarts Legacy, did you? See, my son did not get into Harry Potter when he was a child. My nephew was into Harry Potter. I used to go with I bought my nephew and my son all the books for Harry Potter. And my son was not interested, but my nephew was. So me and my nephew used to go and watch the movies and all that. So my son never got into Harry Potter, unfortunately. He's just like, Harry. Oh, see the sun going behind the castle there. Look. A nice postcard for you. The sun breaking through the castle. Got lots of postcards, yeah? We're very lucky to live in Edinburgh with a castle sitting on top of an extinct volcano. By the way, I've got some exciting news. Hello, Alice, Laura, Gail, and everyone who's joining. Look at the postcard. You got postcards, everyone? Do you all know how to take postcards? Yeah, the big white button. The big round white button, press it. There you go. Beautiful, isn't it? We're very lucky to get... It's such a very photogenic city. It's not... Nothing's perfect in the city. Edinburgh's not a perfect city, of course. There's lots of problems with traffic, poverty, overpopulation, lack of housing. So it's got pretty much similar problems as most cities have got around the world, but it is a very photogenic city in parts, you know. Still quite a lot of poverty. At least 25% of people live in poverty here. But I was just thinking about all the homeless people in America and Canada. Hopefully they've all been taken into night shelters. With the extreme weathers, look at this. Look at the sun. Take a postcard of that and have it in black and white. My daughter, myself, and my grandson has Harry. Yeah, I do. I do. You know, when I watch Harry Potter, it's Christmas. Just binge watch them at Christmas. Be a nice postcard that in black and white, maybe. It keeps locking up on Safari. Working fine on the app, is it? One last postcard. One last postcard of the castle. Then we need to go up, we need to crack on with the Harry Potter story. Hello Susan and Charlie. Marita, everyone who's joining. Welcome to Edinburgh. Busting the myths and legends of Harry Potter. Harry Potter has got no connections to the films, to the movies. It wasn't filmed anywhere here. It was filmed in Glencoe, Glenfinnan, in various places, Lochaw, in various places in Scotland, but it wasn't filmed anywhere in Edinburgh. But there's so many Harry Potter tours come to Edinburgh. We have full-time Harry Potter tour guides and so on. And the reason for that is because of Joanne Rowland. She first thought of Harry Potter when she was travelling on a train. The train was delayed, right? She was waiting on a train going from Manchester to London, and the train was delayed. So that's when she came up with the name of Harry Potter, right? So she first started writing about Harry Potter on a train while she was living in London above a sports shop in Clapham in London. And then she moved to Portugal, where she continued researching and writing, and that's when she met her husband in a bar. He was a Portuguese journalist, and they had a child together, but it turned out, if there's any children watching, turn off their ears. It turns out her husband was not a very nice man. He was abusing her, trying to control her and so on. And I don't know if you know, but Joanne Rowland had previously been severely sexually assaulted as an adult, and she was going to commit suicide. So she quickly divorced her husband, and she came to Scotland, to Edinburgh, because her sister lived here, and her brother-in-law owned a cafe as well. So she was a single parent when she arrived in Edinburgh. She said she was as poor could be without being homeless. And she wrote in various cafes around Edinburgh. We're going to go and visit one today called the Elephant House. Unfortunately, it's been closed down for a year and a half because it was set on fire. It wasn't set on fire, there was a fire next door. And there's a dispute between the owners of the building and the cafe about who's going to pay for it and the insurance company. So the Elephant House Cafe has been closed for a year and a half, unfortunately. So we can't go inside it, but I'll show you it from outside. And she used to sit at the back window of the cafe. And the reason she went to the cafes was, she said that going to the cafes to write Harry Potter, it was the only way she could get peace from her daughter. So the thinking was she would walk her daughters to the various cafes around Edinburgh, and hopefully the walk would wear her out, and the child would then fall asleep, and then that would give chance for Joanne Rowland to carry on her writing. She was on benefits at this point. She wasn't homeless, but she was on benefits as a single parent. Obviously, she got rejected by several publishers, as we all know, and we all know what happened next. Oh, Diane, thank you for the tip. So she came to Edinburgh. Yeah. She wrote the first book on a manual typewriter. A manual typewriter. Can you imagine it? She wrote the first book on a manual typewriter. Who lives in the castle? Somebody said this. It's military barrack. Part of the castle is the army. The army's based there. We've got a castle governor as well, Alistair Bruce. He's related to Robert the Bruce. Did you know Batman, the writer of Batman, was inspired by Robert the Bruce? Because he wanted to give Batman, well, Batman's name is Wayne Bruce, yeah? But that's from Robert the Bruce. Because he wanted Batman to have a noble line. He wanted Batman to be part of the nobility. So he chose Robert the Bruce. So Batman is partly based on Robert the Bruce, one of Scotland's greatest ever kings, who defeated the English at Bannockburn. And today Scotland play England at rugby, the old enemy. I don't watch rugby, but yes, I'm going to watch the rugby match later on because Scotland are playing England at rugby. Scots Monument's open. Are you allowed to film in the old Scots Monument?
Film
just for personal use?
Yeah. As long as you don't film any of our staff or anything like that.
Okay, perfect. I'll book up one for next week, pal. It's a guided tour?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you so much. Ah, well, there we go. We'll go up the Scots Monument soon. Let's have a laugh. I'm terrified of heights. 287 steps. Would you like to see the view from the top of the Scots Monument? Right. Look, It's only that high. The second tallest monument to an author anywhere in the world. You can tell why Joanne Nolan was inspired to come to Edinburgh. So many famous authors have lived here, born here. Sir Robert Louis Stevenson, J.M. Barrie, Robert Louis, did I say Robert Louis Stevenson? Arthur Conan Doyle, and so on. The world's first city of literature. Here we go, a wee bagpiper. What's the bagpiper doing? Let's see if he's any good. So we all know Joanne Nolan was rejected by several publishers. Stupid boys. So her agent suggested changing her name. Because she was writing about a teenage boy wizard, her agent thought that the teenage boys wouldn't buy a book about a teenage boy wizard from a girl. So, the girl with a dress here, but she must be freezing. She must be from Newcastle. The girl had a dress on, man. It's freezing cold and wind. So all she's got on is like a light silk dress. Jesus, holy moly. Said they must be from Newcastle, because that's where, in Newcastle, I don't know if you've ever been into Newcastle in England, the girls don't wear coats even in the winter. It's like a trait from Newcastle. They're crazy. They're off their heads, seemingly. Really, they don't wear jackets in the winter. They're insane. Why would you not wear a jacket? So Joanne was accepted by a publisher because she changed her name. She added the K. So she changed her name from Joanne Nolan to J.K. Rowling. And she got accepted by a publisher. She became a multi-millionaire. She became the world's first billionaire. Oh, I'm glad you've not got smell-o-vision here. Somebody's on cannabis. Oof. So when she wrote the last book, she was a millionaire, right? The Deathly Hallows. So what she did was she booked a room up here. This is a 5-star hotel called the Balmoral Hotel. The most expensive room is £9,000 for one night. So she left with a bill. She stayed there for 6 months and she got charged £180,000. She stayed there for 6 months in a penthouse suite at the top for peace and quiet. And she spent £180,000 living there. Can you believe it? 180,000. She went from writing her first book on a manual typewriter. What's that, Joanna? A plan? Is that a typewriter, Joanna? I was led to believe she wrote the first book on a manual typewriter. On a plane? No, it's a train. A train. She was coming back from Manchester to London when she started writing on a train. She might have wrote partly on a plane as well. Yeah, train. Aye. So she went from being a single parent, living on benefits, to spending £180,000 to spend 6 months writing a book in there. And do you know what she did before she left? She vandalised. There was a statue of a man's head inside the room. So do you know what she did? She vandalised it with a marker writing on the back of it, J.K. Rowling finished writing the Deathly Hallows here. Now bear in mind it's a 5-star hotel costing £2,000 a night. £1,000 a night. And guess what? It took the cleaners 4 months to find the vandalism on the statue. Now bear in mind it's £1,000 a night for the room. It's taken the cleaners 4 months to find out that mess. Gee whiz. The statue is now worth a fortune, as you can imagine. It's on display in the hotel. And of course the same room, the room that was booked by Joanne Nolan, it's now called the J.K. Rowling Suite. And you can actually stay there if you like. And I'll tell you how much it is. Do you know how much it is for one night to stay in the J.K. Rowling Suite? It's got an owl for a knocker and so on. It's £2,000 for one night. So if there's anybody on this tour watching that has enough money to spend £2,000 for one night in a hotel, I'm expecting a big tip from you. And add me as a friend as well. I'll get my Queen Mary Scott statue. £75,000 I'm looking for. That's all. 1 second, everyone. My microphone's just fell off. My microphone just fell out my ear. I've got a wireless microphone called Frank. There we go. So this is the new town area of Edinburgh, by the way. We're in Edinburgh. Most of you all know we're in Edinburgh. But this is the new town area now. What's £2,000 in US? Because of the pound collapsing, it's not much more. It might be about $2,300 for one night. So this is the new town. That's why I'm on a virtual tour and not in person, exactly. And this is the old town we're going into now. So the centre of Edinburgh, in case you're coming to visit it at any point, is split into two main zones, the centre, the historic Old Town, and the Georgian New Town. And you have to bear in mind as well, Edinburgh is a very hilly city. It's built on 7 hills, so you have to bear that in mind. It gets called the birthplace of Harry Potter. All the Harry Potter shops and the tour guides will tell you it's the birthplace of Harry Potter. But as I said at the beginning of the tour, Edinburgh is not the birthplace of Harry Potter. Technically, it would be in Manchester. It's like there's a bit of debate about Diagon Alley as well. I'm going to take you to what some people think is Diagon Alley. But Joanne Rowland herself has said Diagon Alley is not based on anywhere. It's completely fake, made up. In my opinion, the closest area I've ever seen to the Diagon Alley is the Shambles in York. Anyone been to York on John's tours? You see the Shambles? I think if there's anywhere in Britain that's inspiration for Diagon Alley, it's York, the Shambles. That's just my opinion. We all have opinions. Does it mean I'm correct? Oh, there's a girl playing the violin today. Shambles is full of Harry Potter shops now, isn't it, Jane? I haven't been to York for quite a number of years, actually. I've been to York a couple of times. It's a beautiful place. I like York. But it's still legal to kill a Scottish person there. If they're carrying a bow and arrow, it's after midnight and it's within the city walls. I asked the mayor of York to change it, and he said no. Thank you, Liddy. I'm safe. Thank you for the tips, everyone. Here's a Harry Potter shop, look. Lydia. See, it says here, Edinburgh. Birthplace of Harry Potter, Hogwarts, and so on. Is there vehicle traffic allowed here? Yes, it's supposed to be restricted. It's supposed to be a pedestrian after 10:30, but if any of the shops need deliveries or residents, yeah. But yes, it is supposed to be semi-pedestrianised, this street. It's called Coburn Street. I don't want to go in here in case I lose my signal. Shop. So that's Harry Potter. I'm going to take you to another Harry Potter shop. I'm going to take you to the best Harry Potter shop. Actually, there was, in fact, I'll show you when I get there. We're going to go now on to the Royal Mile. So as I mentioned, Joanne Rowland became the world's first billionaire author after finally being accepted. She's given away hundreds of millions of pounds to various charities and campaigns over the last 20 years now. Sometimes she's quite controversial. One example was when Scotland was fighting for independence in 2014. She gave £1 million to the No to Independence campaign. She gave £1 million to the No campaign. Oh, here's the guys from Galicia. The Spanish bagpipes, the gaita. Look. Very similar to a Scottish bagpipe. From Galicia in Spain. Everywhere you go in Galicia, there's bagpipes playing. It's like being in Scotland. The guy's moving his lips, but there's no voice coming out, there's no sound coming from his lips. The Galicians are tough. The Galicians are like, there's nothing on the pavement. Galicia weather is just like Scotland's weather as well. Rains all the time, cold, fog, mist, rain. Maybe shivering the boy with the hat. Okay, there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We might see a bagpiper further up, by the way. Might be lucky and get a bagpiper today. It's Saturday. It's not really tourist season just now, but as you can see, Edinburgh's quite busy, isn't it? Look, still quite busy for the weekends. Edinburgh's very popular for city breaks. A lot of weddings happen. You get stag and hen, bachelor parties coming. A lot of, because of the pound has collapsed against the dollar and the euro, it's more affordable now for people to come here for city breaks from Europe and so on. So as you can see, it is still quite busy in Edinburgh. If you don't like big crowds, you don't come to Edinburgh in August. The population of Edinburgh is just over 500,000, but during August, it can go up to over 1 million. So if you don't like big crowds, avoid August. But if you like the arts and festivals, you must come. I don't know what's going on, let's see. So Joanne Nolan still lives in Edinburgh. I don't know what he's doing. Clap along, everyone. The problem with the street performers is they take so long to do anything. It's not good for a live tour because you take about 30 minutes to do something that takes 5 because they've got to build up the crowd. Hey Justin, we're just watching a street performer before we head off. Oh well, they take so long to do anything. I've tried to do, if you time it right, you can be lucky and just catch them when they're about to do what they're actually going to do, that they spend up 35 minutes doing. Let's see. Let's see. Is he going to try and jump up there? A little kiss. The Fringe Shop is for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in August. We hold the world's largest arts festival here. He's going to try and jump up on that, is he? We're just watching a wee street performance here before we head off, everyone. We'll continue the tale in a minute. See, I mean, it just takes so long. What I'll do is I'll go and show you something and I'll come back, see if we can catch him juggling the fire, okay? Because it takes such a long time to do anything. The festival parade's good. Oh, sorry man, I've got that on 1.5. Sorry. Nice postcard for you of St Giles Cathedral. I did a little tour of there yesterday. If you follow my channel, you'll get updates on what I've got tours coming up. Oh, there's somebody singing over here now. So Edinburgh, this is the area where all the street perform. This is pedestrianised after 10:30 as well. See here, they've got bollards up and all that. You know, so this is safe. See, it's starting to rain now. This girl's got a beautiful voice over here. But I'm going to show you something. So Joanne Nolan still lives in Edinburgh. She's went from being a single parent who was living on benefits to living in one of Edinburgh's most expensive houses and a multi-millionaire. She earned £120 million last year. Here we go, look at this. Hopefully I won't lose the signal. Get ready with your postcards, okay? Because I might lose the signal here. Do not leave, because when I come out, the signal will come back up, right? So there we go. Oh, it's not went down, so that's good. So see this? This is like Edinburgh's Hollywood Walk of Fame. So this is called the Edinburgh Awards. Basically, it's an award given to somebody who has put Edinburgh on the map, done a lot of work for charity and so on. And the first person who won it was an author. Is anyone, any Rebus fans here? Any Rebus fans? We've got Ian Rankin here. Ian Rankin is a Rebus crime writer. But look, so is Joanne Nolan, by the way. Robert Galbraith, she's known as now as well. So there we go. Joanne Nolan's hands. She's also a crime writer called Robert Galbraith. She writes under a fake name. They need more gold paint. You can see she's the most popular. Look, tiny little hand she's got. So that's Joanne Nolan. And then you've got Chris Hoy, Olympic cyclist. He got 5 gold medals for going around a circle on a bike. And then you won't know this guy. This guy's called George Kerr. He was a judo player, and he introduced Christianity. He introduced Christianity? Where the heck did that come from? He introduced judo. I think I was giving that guy a big title there, eh? The guy introduced Christianity. Listen to this girl's voice, by the way. Oh, she's finished. Oh, here's the guy. Look, he's on top of the thing now. Look. I know I'm giving the guy like, oh, this guy introduced Christianity. Is he going to start juggling the fire? Come on, pal, hurry up. See if we can see him juggling the fire before we have to head off. By the way, stay on to the end, even if you're not enjoying the tour. In fact, I might have to stop in a second and get my umbrella. It's starting to rain. 1 second, everyone. 1 second, I'm just going to take shelter. I need to get my... The gimbals are not waterproof, unfortunately. By the way, this is a great pizza shop if you ever come to Edinburgh. It's called At Pizza. Really cheap, look. At Pizza. It's really good. So 1 second, everyone, I'm just going to get my umbrella out. It's starting to rain. It's looking like it's going to be on, off and on. It's quite annoying because the rain's okay, but it's quite windy as well. So it's quite difficult to protect your gimbal, And control the gimbal. Oh, sorry, I picked up the gimbal in the wrong hand. 1 second, everyone. For some reason, I just picked up the gimbal in my left hand. Oh, he's going to start juggling, hopefully. Let's see. Hey, Jolene. By the way, if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, I've got other videos up there that you might have missed in the past. If any of our sponsors want videos, tours, he's going to start fire juggling. Come on, buddy, hurry up. See what I mean? That's been about 5 minutes. And he's just starting now. Come on, come on. Come on, go. Come on then, do it. So frustrating watching this as a virtual tour guide. Remember the guy, was it last year or the year before, I stumbled across a guy wearing a kilt, juggling fire, standing on top of a step ladder, and then he stripped off to his boxer shorts. That was quite good. I think some of the ladies liked that one. Yeah, he's standing on a bit of board on a pole. Oh, he's blew them all out. Woo! Oh, is he going to jump? No. He wasn't wearing his kilt. It's frustrating in real life too. You stand around for 20 minutes, for 30 seconds of juggling, I know, but it's quite frustrating when you're the virtual tour guide because you're like, you're torn between trying to show it off or, continue with your tour, things like that. So yeah, it's quite frustrating, shall we say. So we're going to go now, we're going to go to Diagon Alley. and we're going to hear about a real-life wizard. Obviously, Harry Potter is a fictional wizard, a teenage boy wizard. But Edinburgh is one of the most haunted cities in the whole of Europe. And we have a real-life wizard called the Wizard of West Bow, who lived just around the corner here in Diagon Alley, or the so-called Diagon Alley. His real name was Thomas Weir, and he was a major in an army. And he was a deeply religious person. He was quite old. He was bedbound. And he was in his bed, right? And he started to confess. He had a walking stick, right? He used to walk about with a walking stick that had a human skull carved on top of it. And he said he was given it by the devil himself. Now, you have to bear in mind, in this period, you're talking the 17th century, Scotland is a deeply religious, superstitious country. They really believed in the devil. They believed you could meet the devil walking down the street. They believed the devil could change shape into an animal, such as a bee, a bird, a cat, or a dog. At first, the authorities just ignored Major Thomas Weir, the Wizard of West Bow. They thought he was just a rambling old man. But then his sister started to confess to the crimes as well. And you know what else she confessed to? Incest. Incest. Wow, with her brother. Well, that was too much for the authorities, of course. They were both sentenced to death. They were strangled and hung. And the Wizard of West Bow, as he was known, they tried to throw his walking stick into the fire. However, the walking stick refused. It hovered above the fire, refusing to go into it. They were executed at different locations. His house is just round the corner. I'm going to show you his house in a second, if I can get across the road for all the traffic here. Just unfortunate timing. Right. There we go, trying not to get killed. By the way, get rid of your postcard, because see this picture here, it's actually better than the postcard of the street, because there's it's called Purple Paul 129 Edinburgh Street Tours. So you see that's Diagon Alley there. So if I was you, I would take a postcard of that view, because when we go down there, there's going to be lots of people. Okay? So that's supposed to be Diagon Alley. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go down there in a second, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you along to the cafe where Joanne Nolan used to write the Harry Potter books, the Elephant House Cafe, okay? So yeah, his house remained empty for a long time, Major Thomas Weir's house, the Wizard of West Bow, because people thought it was haunted. There was people saw apparitions of Thomas Weir, the Wizard of West Bow, and he'd be walking down the street. His walking stick would be in front of him, walking, moving unaided. Sorry, but I've just got him battling the wind and the rain, the traffic and people here. It's really quite busy. Construction, Edinburgh's got a lot of construction the last few years. We've had quite a lot of construction in Edinburgh going on because of the pandemic. Thanks, Lorraine, for that. Thanks, Justin, for leaving a tip. So, yeah, we're going to have to put my umbrella up again. It's a shame the cafe's closed down, because it was a big tourist attraction, but the landlord, the owners, because the built, oh, look how busy it is outside even. You're joking, man. What are you all doing? See, when you can't even get a postcard. Look how busy it is. And this is when it's shut. Can you imagine what it's like if it's busy? Why are these people here? It's so annoying. Tourists are really annoying, aren't they? You know what I mean? What are they doing? So that's the Elephant House Cafe. I'm a tour guide. I'm in the wrong job. I hate tourists. Only when I'm doing virtual tours. Do you know what it was? Because when we first started doing virtual tours, It was during lockdown, and nobody was in the shot. This must be part of a group or something. What are they doing? Is this a tour? Oh! It's a tour group. This is why I do this tour. I actually don't like Harry Potter tour groups in Edinburgh. They do my head in because of this. There's so many of them. And sometimes when you go into the graveyard, the whole graveyard, and I'm not exaggerating, is full of Harry Potter tours. Full of Harry Potter tours. Come on, move! Idiots, man. Do you not know I'm trying to get postcards for my clients here? Do you know the stress us guides have to go through to get you guys the best postcards? We have to shout and abuse people in the street. There's going to be no people in a second. Just hang fire, everyone. Hang fire. In 2 seconds, right? There's going to be nobody in the shot. 1 second. Quick. 1, 2, 3, go. And so is here, right? 1 second. Just wait. There's nobody coming. Just wait. Just wait. There you go. Postcard now, everyone. Postcards. Quickly. There's people coming. Yes. Mission achieved, everyone. Don't say I don't do the hard work for you all, you know. Look. Made famous as the place of inspiration to writers such as J.K. Rowling, who sat writing much of her early novels in the back room overlooking Edinburgh Castle. Ian Rankin as well, and Alexander McCall Smith. So you can see it is a very popular place for authors to sit and write. I'll show you it from the back in a second. So we'll go around the back. We're going to go down to Diagon Alley. I'm going to show you the best Harry Potter shop in the whole of Edinburgh. And then we're going to hear about one of the characters from Harry Potter itself. A lady called Maggie Dixon. Maggie Dixon. And you're talking 1700, early 1700s? 1728? And she was married. Maggie was married. Come on, man, look where you're going. Tourists are unbelievable, man. This was banged into 3 times there by tourists. Yeah, she was sepia. Her husband, her and her husband split up. Maggie Dixon and her husband split up, and she was homeless and destitute. So she lived just outside Edinburgh, in a town called Musselburgh, on the east coast of Scotland. She had relatives in England, in Newcastle, so Maggie started to walk towards England, as they did in these days if they didn't have a horse. Harry Potter was filmed all over Britain. All over Britain, so many places Harry Potter was filmed in. It was filmed in Scotland, but not in Edinburgh. Filmed in Scotland, but not in Edinburgh. So Maggie Dixon was walking towards England, and she stopped at a little town in the borders of Scotland called Kelso. It's still a little town today. She stopped in a guest house for some refreshments, for some food and drink. And she quite liked the place. So she ended up asking the landlord for a job. So she got a job as a domestic servant. However, she quickly fell pregnant to the landlord's son. And that was not in her contract of employment. So Maggie kept her pregnancy a secret. And that was a crime in these days. That was a crime, punishable by death. But she had no choice. If she told the people she was pregnant, she would get kicked out and be homeless pregnant. So she kept it a secret. As a consequence, it's believed that the baby died prematurely from natural causes. There's no evidence that Maggie Dixon killed the kid, right? There's no evidence that she killed the kid. She didn't know what to do with the baby's body, so she went down to the river behind the guest house, and she was going to put the baby's body in the guest house, in the river. So you see how the difference with the postcard, you see all the people in the shot? That's why I said get the postcard from the poster, because you'll never get this without people. You'd have to come early morning on a Sunday, and even then you'd be struggling to get this view with no people or cars in it. That's why I said take a postcard of the first one. But yeah, so the baby's body was quickly discovered, right? And it was quickly traced back to Maggie because, you know, she was the only one. She was quite young. She had been in the village for about a year. She was of childbearing age. So do you know what they did to Maggie? They took her to the church, the local minister of the church, stripped her naked, and she was producing breast milk, and she had no baby. This is a Harry Potter shot, by the way. I'm going to turn this phone vertically for a second to get a postcard shot, right? So the minister stripped, this is the best Harry Potter shop in Edinburgh. So the minister stripped Maggie naked, and because she was producing breast milk and had no baby, she was brought through to Edinburgh and put on trial and sentenced to death by hanging for the crime of the Concealment of Pregnancy Act 1695. They had brought in a law to ensure that they convict the criminals. So Maggie Dixon was hung. I'll show you where she was hung. She was hung just down here. Now the law was at this time, you got your hands tied behind your back and a hood placed over your head, and then you were left hanging for 30 minutes. However, before you are executed, you're allowed to have one wee dram of whiskey, a final little dram of whiskey, a little glass of scotch before you get executed. It's called the last drop. There's actually a bar here called the last drop, because this is where they used to publicly execute people, right here. See here? This is where Maggie Dixon was executed, right here. She hung for 30 minutes. Her husband was back on the scene now, so her husband took her body, put it in a coffin, and took it down towards Musselburgh to get buried. However, on the way there, they heard banging coming from the coffin. They opened up the coffin, and Maggie Dixon was alive. Can you believe it? Maggie Dixon was alive. She was brought back through to Edinburgh, and they were going to put her on trial. However, her lawyer pointed out to the judge that she'd already had the death warrant signed. And you remember the law, double jeopardy? There was a law in place called double jeopardy, and that meant you could not get sentenced for the same crime more than once. So the judge looked at it. The judge declared it an act of God, and he gave Maggie Dixon a pardon. She got back with her husband. She lived for at least another 35 years, and she had several more children as well. And she is the inspiration for a Harry Potter character. Can anybody think of a Harry Potter character similar to Maggie? She became known as Half Hang It Maggie. Half Hang It Maggie, because she was half hanged. Seemingly she used to come back to several public hangings, and she used to tell to the people who were about to get executed, "Don't worry, it's not that bad. I've been there and got the t-shirt." She became a local celebrity. Can you imagine what it would have been like? And the greatest accolade in Scotland you can get, we don't want a statue or a title, we want a pub named after us. So Maggie Dixon has got the greatest accolade you could ever get in the whole of Scotland. She's got a bar named after her. So when I die, I'm trying to think about something I can do to get a bar named after me without getting half hanged. So go on, Maggie Dixon. What character do you think from Harry Potter she was the inspiration for? Anyone? I've not had any guesses yet. Does anyone have a clue about what character she could be from Harry Potter? Bear in mind, Joanne Nolan walks these streets almost every day. Matthew, well done, Matthew. You're a fan, top fan, Matthew. Nearly Headless Nick, the ghost, the headless ghost. Look at the queue for Harry Potter. Is this another tour? I was trying to get you a shot of this plaque. This used to be a brush shop. The Harry Potter store's a brush shop, right? I'll see if I can force my way to the... Is it another tour? It's a Harry Potter tour. Or is it just a queue to get in? Is this just a queue? This is a queue to get in. Look at this. The Harry Potter shop, look. Look here. See this here? I'll read it for the ones in case anyone's got vision problems. So this shop was founded in 1873. Robert Cresser's brush shop. It occupied number 40 for 131 years. And Harry Potter fans believe this magical street gave J.K. Rowling the vision for Diagon Alley. with original Victorian fixtures, full of dusty knobs, dusty boxes and broomsticks, was this little shop the inspiration for Ollivanders? Well, I don't know, but as you can see, it's very popular. It's so popular. This is February, and they've had to introduce a queuing system in February. Unbelievable, eh? You see some of the Harry Potter tour guides, they get dressed up with capes. They get dressed up as wizards. Grown men get dressed up as wizards. And you're like, okay. So there's the Harry Potter shop. I can't go inside it because the queue's too big, as you can see. And another reason I can't go inside it is because as soon as I step inside the door, I lose the signal. And the way the app's been playing up recently, I don't want to take any chances and go in there. But stay on, we've still got more to go, everyone. We're going to see some of the characters now in the graveyard. Because what happened, I'll show you the back of the cafe, right? Because what happened, remember I told you that Joanne used to go in the cafe and write when her kid fell asleep? Well, what would happen is her kid would wake up, and of course Joanne would take her across to the graveyard, across the road, and allegedly she created some of the characters from Harry Potter because she was inspired by some of the gravestones. And we'll go and find out just now who they all are once I cross this road without getting killed. As you can see, it's February, but the rugby's on today. She'll get a lot of crowds in for the rugby. But Scotland are playing away from home. It's actually down in England. But a lot of people come to Edinburgh to watch the football and the rugby and so on, things like that. So, that'll do. So we're going to go into an ancient graveyard now. This graveyard dates back to 1562. Mary Queen of Scots, my favourite queen, who I do a tour about, she deemed the land suitable for burial in 1562. Coincidentally, it's called Greyfriars, thank you Matthew, it's called Greyfriars, and coincidentally, there is actually a Potter family gravestone here. There's a street just around the corner called Potter Row. So you see the boarded up windows there? So that's the back of the Elephant House Cafe. So that's where Joanne Nolan used to sit. Right in the books. And as you can see how close it is to the graveyard. 1 second, I'm just going to put my umbrella away. As you can see, it's very close to the graveyard here. I'll just put my umbrella away, everyone. So when the baby would wake up, she would just bring her across the road for a walk. Try and tire her out a little bit in the hope that she would fall back to sleep. So she'd get peace and quiet to continue her writing. So that's the back of the cafe, as you can see there. So here we are. So I'm going to show you the Potter gravestone, right? There's a street around the corner called Potter Row. Potter Row. It's got nothing to do with Harry Potter. It's just a total coincidence that there's a Potter Row and the Potter family gravestone as well. So this has nothing to do with Harry Potter. But I just want to show you. Just for a coincidence. Oh. Jesus, I'm getting knackered. So see there? Anne Potter, his wife, daughter of Robert Potter. Total coincidence. There's a Potter gravestone. People just assume it's something to do with Harry Potter, but it's not. But remember and stay until the end, everyone. Don't leave. You're not allowed to leave. If you leave, you'll get an electric shock. Aye, it's true. So as you can see, graveyard's busy. All the Harry Potter dudes. Some days there's literally thousands of people in here. You actually have to buy a pass now. I've got a pass, look. Where is it? You're only supposed to have a tour group size of 35 people. Some of the tour guides just ignore that, frustratingly. Some of the Harry Potter fans are a bit keen. They were destroying graves, stealing graves, bits and bobs. As you can see, they take up all the space. I'm just going to quickly show you this. So get rid of your postcards, everyone. Postcard.
I think to be quite honest, in that the things that I think actually inspired the books and movies, for example, when they were thinking about how to come up with the movies and how it was going to look, they actually did come to Edinburgh. Because
They all got postcards. That's the only character that's real. So that there is a guy called William McGonagall. Right? He is supposed to be Professor McGonagall from the movie. He's known as Scotland's worst ever poet. I'll read out one of his lines from one of his poems. Right? Listen to this. This is who Professor McGonagall is based on. On yonder hill there stood a coo. It must be deed, 'cause it's no there now. I'll read that in English for you. On yonder hill there stood a cow. It must be dead, 'cause it's not there now. Yeah. Well, you've got to buy a pass now. You've got to pay £75 a year to come in as a tour guide now. And you've got to limit the tour groups to 35. But some of the Harry Potter tours just ignore it. Here's another one. Here's One Eye Moody. See it? Can you see? Oh, see, man. Can you see it? Above the fence. Elizabeth Moody. So that's supposed to be One Eye Moody. That's supposed to be One Eye Moody. Different spelling as well. She does that, she changes the spelling. But as you can see, it's fenced off. There's 126 of us here, is there? 120. I'm only allowed groups of 35. It's only in person. Yeah, some of the Harry Potter tours, they hog all the space. They're big, massive groups. You can't get near anything for them. It's so frustrating. They do my head in. So see here as well. Scramander. You see it? Mary Turner Scramander. Another one. It's fenced off, I can't go in close. And look at this one. There's a big massive Harry Potter tour group. They're not supposed to stand blocking all the space, man. Look here. This has been stolen. Look whose grave's been stolen. Sirius Black, gone. The Harry Potter fans stole it. Some of them get a bit keen, man, and take things. So I'm just going to show you this. What happens when you die? What happens when you die? Well, look, in the case of this dude here. Look, Alice, I never said that. I think you must have been confused with somebody else, or I've said it for a laugh. Maybe because I don't think that's true, Alice. So what happened, in fact, what I'll do is I'll take a vertical shot of this for you, okay? There we go, look. Can you see it? What happens when you die? Well, in the case of Thomas Riddle, they become part of a Harry Potter fan's bucket list as they go on their Harry Potter tours around Britain, look at all the Harry Potter spots and so on. So this is supposed to be he whose name must not be spoken. Voldemort. Thomas Riddle, Esquire. So that's supposed to be Voldemort. So there you go, look. To the memory of Thomas Riddle. Oh, in fact, I'll zoom back out, sorry about that. To the memory of Thomas Riddle, Esquire. In fact, I bet the Harry Potter fans are going to take my place. Don't stay on, by the way. The tour's just about finished. Don't stay on, don't leave. I'm going to try and get my spot, my Harry Potter spot. Well, you're fighting with space for these Harry Potter tours. Nobody knows for sure how many people are buried in this graveyard. Because of the plague, there was a plague in 1645. that wiped out 60% of Edinburgh. So what happens, there's just big pits were dug and bodies were chucked in. So because of the popularity of the Harry Potter tours and the ghost tours and so on, the bones regularly get washed up. Some bones come up all the time, and the minister has to rebury the bones. Have you enjoyed the tour, everyone? I hope you've enjoyed the tour. Give me a thumbs up if you have enjoyed the tour. Thank you so much for coming on my tour today. You made an old man very happy. If you would like to leave a tip, if you can afford to leave a tip, if you can do so, that would be fantastic. If not, if you could leave a 5-star review, share postcards. But if you just wait for 1 second, got another ending. So I'm just going to show you this here. See here? This was the world's first open-air prison. In the late 17th century, 1,200 people were kept here in a field. The man in charge of looking after them was called Bloody Mackenzie. See how it's padlocked up? Look, there was 1,200 men and women kept here. The man in charge was Mackenzie. He became known as Bloody Mackenzie. He tortured them. He executed hundreds of them. Their heads were chopped off and put on spikes around the city walls as a deterrent. They were kept there until November. The remaining 600 who were alive were put on a ship and packed off to the colonies. However, the ship crashed on the way there, near Orkney. 600 people got killed. It's believed that Mackenzie was responsible for killing up to 12,000 people in his lifetime. His body is buried in here. This is called the Black Mausoleum. They buried him just next to where he committed some of his worst crimes. How sick is that? And what happened was in 1998, a homeless person called Sonny broke into the mausoleum looking for shelter. Now, unbeknown to him, the gravediggers had dug a big pit of bodies and just chucked bodies inside there. There's lots of people in there that didn't know about. Stay on. And what happened was the poor guy fell into a pit of bodies. Some of the bodies still had flesh and stinking stuff on them. The poor man was terrified. It was pitch black at night. He's ran out of the Black Mausoleum, terrified. It was pitch black. Well, at the same time, there's a man walking his dog, right, coming up here. Well, we don't know who got the biggest fright, but all three ran off in different directions. They thought it was a zombie coming, right? So ever since then, people started to report them getting attacked, right? Most of the attacks, somebody got attacked last week, most of the attacks take place in the prison here, that's why it's padlocked off, but attacks happen all over this graveyard, right? There's been over 400 recorded incidents of people being attacked by Bloody Mackenzie, the poltergeist. There is a dare, right? I'm going to try and raise him, right? You've got to say a special rhyme. Now, if the screen goes black, he's got me, right? So wish me luck. Wish me luck, everyone. Mackenzie, come out if you dare. Draw the snake and lift the bar.